The Yugoslav army had proven useless. Its generals capitulated to the Germans on 17 April, with tens of thousands of soldiers fleeing desperately in all directions. The Germans took 344,000 mainly Serb prisoners. Another 300,000 managed to get away. King Peter II and his government fled to London via stopovers in Athens and Palestine. Within 11 days, the Axis had taken another country without meeting any resistance. The Communist Party of Yugoslavia, CPY, was surprised by the total collapse of the army, which had been brought up on patriotic Serb traditions of fighting hard against the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century and the Habsburgs during the First World War. 3 years later, the CPY leader Milovan Djilas confessed to Dmitry Manuilsky, a leading Comintern apparatchik. We made the mistake of thinking the majority of officers, together with the general staff, would resist the Germans. It did not happen. Most of them surrendered. There was no serious resistance. It was a triumphal march. Why was the CPY not prepared in 1941? The party had a tragic history. It had been subjected to massive repression under the monarchical dictatorship since 1918 and been banned in 1921. Later in Moscow, Stalin's purges had wiped out some of the best cadres of the party. Tito survived because he kept his head down and had a powerful protector in Georgy Dmitrov, the Bulgarian communist and a long-time Comintern leader. Here we had a classic example of a party subordinated to Moscow and semi-paralyzed by the Stalin-Hitler pact that prevented it from even conducting sabotage against the occupiers. Tito, an ethnic Croat, refused to accept the fragmentation of Yugoslavia, denounced the fascist Croatian state created by the Third Reich, and pledged to reunite his country. On 8 May 1941, Moscow recognized the Axis dismemberment of Yugoslavia. They expelled the ambassador after informing him that there was no longer any juridical basis for the existence of a Yugoslav mission in Moscow. 4 days previously, the CPY leaders had convened a delegate conference in Zagreb, where the leadership had strongly denounced the German breakup of the country, and Tito had insisted that they start preparations for an armed struggle against all the occupying powers. He broke with Stalinist orthodoxy and stated that the fight against the fascists was simultaneously a struggle for power against the local bourgeoisie and its allies. He informed his comrades that he was speaking of a socialist revolution. Unlike Stalin, the Yugoslav leader knew that the Germans would not delay too long before invading the Soviet Union. A military committee was set up whose aim was to create clandestine, unified Yugoslav armed groups in every occupied region. The underground leadership felt it would be safer in Belgrade than Zagreb, where a section of the population was intoxicated by the lure of independence and where Pavelic was already preempting the Germans by persecuting, torturing, and imprisoning Roma, Jews, and Serbs. As far as these groups were concerned, three alternatives faced them: one third to be exterminated, one third deported, and the rest forced to convert to Roman Catholicism. Even the Germans were slightly horrified by the treatment of the Serbs. Subsequently, at Nuremberg, This exterminism was judged to be genocide. Serbs put the number killed at 750,000. The German figures are 350,000. Pavelic was prepared to safeguard the Bosniaks as long as they accepted they had been born Croatians, and in some cases where Muslim gangs agreed to kill Serbs. Many did so to survive, others enlisted as German auxiliaries. The two resistance movements in the Balkans that impressed the Allies were both led by the communist parties of Greece and Yugoslavia, respectively. In the latter case, a majority of SOE observers in the fields or special envoys like Fitzroy MacLean sent to assess Tito were impressed by the Croat communists and appalled by the alternative.